All right, how about that for Week 7 Sunday afternoon football? I watched Eagles-Vikings in the early slate, thought it was great, and then I got Giants-Broncos. It doesn't get much better than that. It doesn't get much better than a fire fourth quarter comeback that has you at the edge of your seat, so you better believe we got a lot to discuss today. I appreciate you tuning back in. You know the drill. It's JV, back on the JV show for Week 7, Sunday afternoon recap. This is 7 straight weeks now of Sundays, Mondays, and primetime recaps. Thanks for being here with me. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. It means a lot. The support's been fantastic. Let's keep things rolling. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you this year I'm sponsored by my friends over at Big Third Down Shop. Go check it out. The link is in my bio. They hooked me up with some real sick NFL hats like this Eagles Fly one I got right now. On for a reason. We're talking Eagles football right away, so stay tuned for that. But for now, please check them out. Show them some love. Go get yourself a real cool NFL branded hat for whatever team you support. And there's a ton more on the way. So stay tuned for that here on the show. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Week 7, Sunday afternoon football. Let's dive deep. Eagles 28, Vikings 22. We're going to go early slate to later slate. And you always know I got Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, and the rest on Mondays with my boy Steve. Let's kick it off. Eagles, Vikings. Jalen Hurts haters. Where y'all at today? You know, I don't even think I'm too high on Jalen Hurts. I'm not even the highest. Like, there are some Eagles fans that legitimately think he's the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't believe that. I really don't. I am aware of his strengths and his weaknesses and what he brings to the table and maybe what he lacks. But what I can't stand is people who will continually bash this guy and pull up every kind of stat in the books to make him seem like he's trash, to make him seem like he sucks. I don't buy it. And this week again, last week, he had a bad game. The haters, they crawled out from their holes. Ever since the Super Bowl, they started laughing. This week, silenced. Jalen Hurts haters got silenced real quick this week. And I loved it. I loved it. It was awesome. 1 week of celebrating and it was wraps. 40-yard touchdown bomb to A.J. Brown. 79 touchdown bomb to Devonta Smith. He seals the game on a third down conversion to A.J. Brown. Listen to his stats today. 19 of 23. 326 yards. 3 touchdowns. No interceptions. Career day for Jalen Hurts. The deep ball this year has been phenomenal. He missed one time to Devonta Smith, overthrew him. And for some reason, people make it seem like it's a consistent, repetitive thing. Jalen Hurts has one of the best deep balls in the NFL, and he shows it week in, week out. Just because he missed on one that was open, that got broadcasted to the entire world via social media, doesn't mean he misses his guys all the time. He's a very accurate and an explosive deep ball thrower of the football. Very accurate, like I said. He's also a game changer at points. Now, I do think he goes into Philly. He's got a lot of talent around him. Definitely not asked to do as much as, let's say, a Justin Herbert. But I think he makes game-changing plays. He absolutely does. Today, Jalen Hurts was a game changer. He won them that game with his arm. The people who said he couldn't pass, he does it time and time again and proves you're wrong time and time again. And in the must-have moments, Jalen Hurts always shows up. He always does. When you need it most, when you need a touchdown, when you need to seal the game, who do you want with the ball in his hands? It's Jalen Alexander Hurts. Against pressure all day long, Brian Flores, we know the kind of looks he likes to bring against quarterbacks, especially quarterbacks that people deem to be poor against the blitz, poor against pressure. Brian Flores brought the house today against Jalen Hurts, and he handled it with ease. He handled it like a freaking pro. This was a very good Vikings defense that Jalen Hurts terminated. 28 points, over 300 yards, well over 300 passing yards, few touchdowns today, no interceptions, mistake-free football. Very rarely will you get a bad game from Jalen Hurts. Even more rarely will you get back-to-back. And that was not happening this week. Jalen Hurts made a statement again today, and he will continue to frickin' do it because he's a dog. He's a top 10 quarterback in this league, and I stand on it. If you want to say, he's not top 5, all right. I'll listen to it. There's a lot of guys balling right now you can have in that conversation. But to say he's not top 10, to say Jalen Hurts isn't close to the top 10 right now is unreal. He's absolutely a top 10 QB. I don't even know why that's a debate. And it's not a Super Bowl thing. It's not a winning thing. Right now, Philly's offense really isn't as good as we expected it to be. But I think Jalen Hurts has been pretty consistent, despite having an off week last week against the Giants on Thursday Night Football. I think he's been really good. Now, you want to talk about some other players on this offense. I thought A.J. Brown was getting traded. Oh, what happened? Let me guess. The media hyped up another weird narrative about Philly to knock them down, only for A.J. Brown to have 4 receptions for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns today against the Minnesota Vikings. The media loves to feed off hate about Philly. Now, I will admit, Philly fans, they're very obnoxious. They're very out there. They'll get in your face. They will piss you off 100%. And they know that. So if you hate on them, I don't necessarily blame you. But the media does this weird thing where they go after these unnecessary, unrelated to football stories and try to make something of it. They did it last year with A.J. Brown in the book. What happened? Absolutely nothing. They won a Super Bowl. They do it every single year. They try to make it seem like the relationships in Philly are so damn bad that they can't even win a game. And then they show up on Sunday to play ball, and they put up damn near 30 points and a phenomenal performance. Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown combined had 17 catches and 340 yards today. That's pretty phenomenal. For receivers and a quarterback that apparently can't pass, that have a tarnished relationship, that's pretty impressive, wouldn't you say? Well, we just saw them win a Super Bowl. I don't know why people are shocked. I don't know why people continue to buy in. They continue to buy into the BS narratives about Philly that make it seem a lot worse than it really is. Honestly, it seems like every single week there's something new in Philadelphia. But you feel some comfort. You get a sense of comfort when you see A.J. Brown go out there, score 2 TDs, catch the game-sealing reception down the field. It was like a 30-yard, 40-yard bomb down the left sideline. He cooked his DBs all day. Smitty did the same. It was encouraging. And it puts you at ease. You're confident. Not that, I wasn't before, but you watch and you're like, yeah, the media is BSing us. It absolutely is lying to us. So the offense today obviously balled out. The OC, different story. Patullo, I'm still not sold on Kevin Patullo. I don't think this game alleviates the hot seat accusations from Kevin Patullo. This game, it fixes nothing, in my opinion at least. It took way too long to get going. They had one great drive and stalled for about 2 quarters. I didn't understand. The decisions at points during the game on 3rd down, the play calling at some big moments during the game, is just obscure. It doesn't make sense to me. The pass game is rolling, and you run the ball on 3rd and 5. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I think when I watch him play, or watch him play call, and I watch the offense work, I think Patullo is very big play reliant. So if Hurts doesn't hit Smitty or A.J. Brown for an 80-yard touchdown, the offense really suffers. Patullo still cannot coach consistently drive after drive where you march the ball down the field with 10 to 15-yard chunk gains and move the chains and move the chains and move the chains and move the chains. I haven't seen that. A lot of people will be happy because Philly won. And with coaching, it's very hard to distinguish if it's a good coach, if it's a bad coach, if it's a coaching problem, if it's a player's problem. Usually you just resort to saying, hey, did they win or did they lose? Kind of like a quarterback's thing, right? I don't think that's realistic. I think what I've seen from Philly's offense, they have a ton of playmakers. They will put up points. They will do their jobs. But I don't think Kevin Patullo, compared to what I've seen from previous offensive coordinators in a similar Philly system, I don't think Kevin Patullo compares, to be honest with you. I haven't seen a full 60 minutes coached by Kevin Patullo. They either come out flat or they end flat or somewhere in between. The offense clicked today, absolutely, but I think it's reliant on the big plays. And it's more so like, hey, Jalen, please go save me. Hey, A.J. Brown, please save me. Please save the day. Because I can't figure out how to call a full drive. I can't figure out how to call a full half or a full game. At least that's what I see from my perspective. So I'm not letting Patullo off the hook because Jalen Hurts threw for 300-plus yards. Not at all. I still think there's a play calling issue in Philly. But it definitely was an encouraging sign for Philly fans, I'm sure, to at least be like, hey, we can do this. Right? We got the players. It hasn't faded. We got this. We are still the best team in the NFL, or at least competing to be this year. When you assess the offense, I think besides OC, the O-line, I think that's been a glaring weakness this year. It's very clear Philly's O-line is a big weakness so far this season. Very, very clear. They're not getting pushed at the line of scrimmage. They are not dominating and opening holes for Saquon Barkley like they did last year. The run game has struggled ever since week 1. For 7 straight weeks, they haven't been able to run the ball. There's a rotation of guys. There's a bunch of guys getting injured, moving in and out of the lineup. Brett Toth has been really bad. They got new guards. They got guys moving around. Here's my thing. Last year, Philly made and won a Super Bowl by winning at the line of scrimmage. This year, they're not doing that with the O-line. They're just not. Defensive line with Jalen Carter, they're doing it. They're fine there. Without him, it gets a little sketchy. But offensive line right now, it's just not as good of a unit as we thought it would be, or as we saw last year on their Super Bowl run. And the numbers do not lie to you. Barkley in 2024 versus 2025. 2024, Barkley had 5.8 yards per carry. This year, he's at 3.3. He's not nearly as efficient. They're not nearly running the ball at the success rate that they were last year. And as a result, the offense just doesn't look as good. It's not as dynamic. They're relying on the pass game a lot more. They're relying on the big shots to A.J. Brown and Smitty. So it kind of trickles down. It's kind of like a domino effect, if you will. So between O-line, OC right now, I think Philly's offense is hindered. I really do. I don't think that they're reaching full potential. But again, lots of time left. Half a season left to go. Lots of time to develop, to learn. You're making the playoffs if you're Philly. So you're looking at a playoff run, a Super Bowl, returning back to the Super Bowl. There's lots of opportunities. On the other side of the ball, with the Vikes. Listen, I'm watching the Vikes, and I've thought this literally since week 1. Didn't even have to see JJ play. I said the Vikings are a quarterback away from being an elite team. Right now, they're a quarterback away. That could be JJ McCarthy. I don't know. I was a little nervous with a few of his performances this year. He did have some great moments. I don't know. He hasn't been healthy enough to put on display enough for us to say, is this guy, going to be the future or not? The defense is very strong. They're definitely a high-class defense in the NFL. Brian Flores is one of the premier defensive coordinators in the league. They got a plethora of weapons to turn to, the best receiver in the game. The run game is solid. Wentz turned over the ball twice today. He threw 2 interceptions, and it was still a 6-point game. That's got to be encouraging against arguably the best team in the NFC. That's good news, in my opinion. They had so many red zone trips where they failed to punch the ball into the end zone. The secondary sucked for the majority of the game. You look at last year, Sam Darnold would probably be undefeated right now if he was starting for the Vikings, because they're literally a quarterback away. And the quarterback does not have to be a Lamar or a Josh Allen or anybody even close to that. He's just got to do his job. He's just got to distribute and take care of the football. The rest will work itself out. So watching the Vikings today, it was very clear that they have the weapons, they have the team, they have the structure built by KOC. The coaching is there. They just need a man that can lead the team, that they can run behind, who's not going to turn over the ball and just do the simple things right. Don't overcomplicate things. Get the ball to Jettis, get the ball to Addison, work TJ Hawkinson. The run game's good. O-line has been improved. Defense is really good. They got it all. They got it all. They just need a quarterback. Let's see what JJ can do when he comes back, because Wentz obviously isn't the answer. I want to move over to Chiefs 31, Raiders 0. 0. A donut, 0. If you thought Geno was bad, I'd love to hear your opinion on him this week. 0 damn points. Like, come on. 0. But hey, the Chiefs look good. You know what? The Chiefs don't even look good. The Chiefs look like the best team in the NFL right now. No exaggeration. And I've been trying to tell people this all year long. You do not bet against a team like the Kansas City Chiefs. You just can't. They've gotten exponentially better every single week. The offense hasn't looked as good in years. The defense has always been fantastic under Spags. The coaching with Andy Reid and Spags is excellent. When this team is healthy, you do not want to mess with them. Now that they have Rashee Rice back, now that the offense is moving at a consistent 30-point per week pace, I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know who stops them. Seriously. You have to face a high-end defense for 60 minutes and deal with Patrick Mahomes, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce. They have a ton of weapons on offense. The run game is finally moving. The O-line, Mahomes is getting better protection. He's finally got a tackle. It looks really good. All signs in Kansas City right now point towards positive. And the Chiefs are back. They never left. They had a slow start to the season, yes, but we wrote them off. We wrote them off without even thinking outside the box and saying, hey, no Rashee Rice. Hey, Xavier Worthy got injured. Hey, Travis Kelce's aging and he's their number one option right now. Gave it some time, and now they're freaking dominating. I don't care if it was the Raiders. I don't care if it was the whoever, the Jets, the Titans. It doesn't matter. These are NFL teams. And the Chiefs are dominating. They dog-walked the Raiders today. They could do whatever they wanted. Hell, they could have had Pacheco out there playing quarterback. It wouldn't matter. They are that good right now. In the playoffs, you don't want to see 15. You don't. I promise you. As a Bills fan, I've been there. You don't want to see 15 in the playoffs. He will burn your dreams. Chiefs haven't been this healthy in a while. And now we're seeing why they should be considered the best team in the NFL right now. Rashee Rice, he was the missing piece obviously. His stats today, 7 receptions, 42 yards, and 2 touchdowns in his return to the Chiefs. What did I tell you? I saw people online saying, oh, it's not a big deal. Rashee Rice isn't Jerry Rice. He's not Randy Moss. He's not coming back. He's not, but it means a lot for this offense. And we saw that today. This is what they were missing for 6 straight weeks. A true number one that they can turn to in the red zone and say, score me this touchdown. We're going to put it up for you. We're going to put the ball up. Go get it. We need you to run a goal line route. We need you to release off the line of scrimmage and win. Rashee Rice did that all day long. He's the true number one option in the red zone now. So you bring him in now with Worthy, with Thornton, with Kelsey, with Hollywood Brown, with the run game moving. This Chiefs team is really good. The offense has never looked this good. Maybe a while ago when they had Tyreek, but in the last few years, this doesn't even compare. This was one of the best offensive days I've seen from the Chiefs in a very long time. And that's a testament to their health. That's not me saying Mahomes hasn't been this good. He's had issues because he hasn't had healthy players. But now that that's not the case, now that he's got a healthy team, it's way different. And Patrick Mahomes, right now, Patrick Mahomes cannot be stopped. No defense in the league can stop Patrick Mahomes right now. 26 of 35 today, 286 yards, another 3-touchdown day. His last 4 weeks, let me read you the stats. He's averaged 285 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0.25 interceptions per game. Everyone laughed. Absolutely everyone. If you're not a Chiefs fan, you were laughing. And now you're paying the price. He hasn't had weapons like this in years, all healthy at once. And now he's back to pure dominance. Everybody's eating. He distributes the ball to every single target he's got. And now this receiving room is arguably top 10 in the NFL right now. The deep ball has been revived. He's making the game-changing plays. He threw a 44-yard bomb today. That rarely happened last year or the year prior. Now the narrative has changed. Now we're looking at a Super Bowl caliber offense. Look out. Pat's back. And I hate to glaze. I hate to be the guy that comes out here and say, Patrick's that guy still, but it's true. And a lot of people seem to forget that. We're seeing it right in front of us right now. Patrick Mahomes is back. Now, with all things considered, the Raiders do suck ass. They really do. They're a terrible football team. They're going to have a top 5 pick in the draft. The Titans, the Jets, the Raiders, they suck. Geno Smith really fooled all of Las Vegas. Holy smokes. He can't do anything. The offense is going nowhere. Geno is a shell of himself. Geno did not look like this in Seattle. Geno, at moments in Seattle, you thought they could actually win something with him. Right now, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. He looks, out of sorts. He's confused. He's missing open targets. He's turning over the ball. I'm pretty sure he got benched today. I don't know. I gave up when the Chiefs put up 31 points on this defense. The Raiders as a whole, as an organization right now, and I feel bad for Pete Carroll, but he came back to a complete disaster. A complete disaster. And they need a franchise quarterback. It is very obvious. I honestly don't know what they gave Geno money-wise, but I don't think it was ideal. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I don't think it was good based off his performance this year. So, yeah, it was bad. But the Chiefs, they're back. Let's go. Patriots 31, Tennessee Titans 13. I tried to tell you guys about the Patriots. I tried to warn you. I do my best. I think I posted January 1st of 2025, so this year, before the playoffs had even started, I believe, and I said, if the Patriots figure out their head coach situation and go out and get a weapon for Drake May and protect him a little, we're going to see a completely different Patriots team this year. And now they're 5-2. The Patriots will be in the playoffs this year. I tried to tell you guys. 5-2 for a good reason. They have a cupcake schedule. If they played a playoff schedule, I don't know how many games they would win. They're still a really good team. I don't know how they stack up with your Chiefs, your Eagles. They beat the Bills, but I don't know how good the Bills are going to be this year. You know, I won't talk about that. I don't want to put myself down right now. But they are a good team right now, and they still have a lot of building to do. They still got a lot of talent that they can acquire, and there are still some holes on the roster. Drake May is elite right now. Elite. Like, we're talking top 5 quarterback in football this year. They got playmakers on offense right now, despite, me saying that they have some lackluster positional groups. Stephon Diggs, Kayshon Boutte, Pop Douglas, they're showing up big time for this team. The protection has been improved, and the defense is relentless. They made some huge offseason additions. Chasen has 4.5 sacks. Harold Landry has 5.5 sacks, tied for 8th in the NFL this year. And Mike Vrabel is 100% my coach of the year. I predicted it to start the season, and I'm rocking with it. This team is really, really good. And the division is really light. Dolphins, 2 easy wins. Jets, 2 easy wins. They're already up 1-0 against the Buffalo Bills. They could go 5-0. Pardon me. They could go 5-1, 6-0 in this division. They're that good right now. And I'll tell you what, the more momentum that they build, because week 1, week 2, you're watching, you're like, I don't know. I'm not buying in. Drake May struggled against the Raiders week 1. It was a rain game, didn't look too good. Ever since then, this team has taken stride after stride after stride, and you can visibly see the improvements on the field week after week. I'm watching the defense today. I think they put up 19 points for me in fantasy. Couldn't be happier. As a Bills fan, unfortunately, couldn't be freaking happier. I think they're, not a Super Bowl contender right now, but a really good team that could upset you in the playoffs if you saw them, especially at home if they win this division, which right now they're on track to do. They're leading. If they steal that next game against Buffalo, yikes. Watch out. And what's the big reason? You already know. Drake friggin' May. Drake May is playing unbelievable football. He's processing the field at a rapid pace, at an elite level. Things are just coming so quickly to him. He's such an intelligent quarterback. He's picking up on coverages. He's analyzing and scanning the field so quick, dissecting what the defense is showing him, and absolutely torturing them with his arm. He's taking what's given to him, but he's also throwing his strikes. He had a pass today down the left sideline, I want to say, maybe right side, I don't know. There was a pass down the sideline to Stephon Diggs today where he just feathered the ball. And at that point, I was like, what am I watching? His touch on the football, his ability to drive the ball deep with such accuracy, with such confidence. He's been a top 3 deep ball passer this season. Never mind top 3 quarterback, top 3 deep ball passer. He's been really efficient in that part of his game this year. The play action has been so dangerous. Josh McDaniels, that's worked out really well since he's arrived. I think they're doing great things for Drake May. And I think Drake May is reciprocating the love, and he's giving it right back to them. he still doesn't have elite weapons. And look what he's doing. The stats, the eye test, he passes it all right now. 7 weeks of football is all it took to convince people he's the best quarterback in his draft class over a guy that took his team to the NFC Conference Championship last year. That's how good he's been. Let that soak in. One of the big benefactors of that, Mike Vrabel. Huge. I can't believe the Titans let go of Mike Vrabel. That must really sting. Tennessee is crashing and burning. Meanwhile, Mike Vrabel is 5-2 with a team that only won 4 games last year. Head coaching is primarily about relationships and motivation, in my opinion. You know, if you're an offensive head coach, you call plays, it's about that for sure. You're a defensive head coach, you work with the defense, yada, yada, yada. What is head coaching when it really, you really boil it down to the crux of it? Like, what is it? It's relationships, right? You're going to have an OC, you're going to have a DC. What makes a good head coach? I mentioned it earlier on in the episode. How do you judge coaching? Well, it's tough, right? Are you a product of your players, or are your players a product of your system? Unfortunately, I don't know. We can analyze, we can watch the film, we can kind of predict, but you'll never truly know. You look at the wins and losses, and you tell me who's a good and bad coach, pretty much. Offense isn't moving, Matt LaFleur sucks. Can't call plays. All of a sudden, they put up 2 touchdowns. Thank goodness we have Matt LaFleur, right? Just as an example. Nothing against Matt LaFleur, by the way. But anyways, I digress. Mike Vrabel. Every player that I've heard talk about Mike Vrabel has good things to say. He's a motivator. He builds a great culture. He builds a great locker room of players. The guys love him. He's a former player himself. He knows what's going on. He was a successful player for the Patriots. It means something to him to be involved at practice, to be in there with the linemen, in the drills, working hard with them, sweating, blood, sweat, tears. Like, it means something to him. That's heart. That's passion. You can't buy that. That's what makes Mike Vrabel special. He's a culture setter. And Tennessee, for whatever reason, moved on from him, and now they stink like dog shit. And the Patriots are benefiting from it. I cannot believe they let him go. Especially with a guy like Cam Ward now, who, I think has a ton of talent, and we might as well just talk about him now. I think the world of Cam Ward. I really do. I think Cam Ward is very talented. I think he's got a bright future. But what he's got to do is clean up the turnovers. Cam Ward has to clean up the turnovers. It has to happen. I know he's young, so I'm not going to rip into him like he's a 3rd or 4th year NFL veteran. He's got a ton of talent. He has a ton of upside. There's a good reason he went number 1 overall this year, because some of the plays he makes will remind you of a 5th-year NFL veteran, of a guy that deserves a huge contract. But too many times already this season, I've seen Cam Ward fumble the ball with no pressure. I've seen him throw a pick 6 flat-footed, looking like he doesn't care. He's not the problem, but he can't be setting himself back. It's that simple. I am not blaming Cam Ward for anything but what's in his control. And fumbling the ball when you're untouched, inexcusable. Looking lackadaisical, looking all nonchalant, and throwing a pick 6, inexcusable. That's what has to be cleaned up, because once you move past that and it's pure talent that you're showing, Cam Ward's there. He's got it. He's got all the tools in the toolbox. He's got all the tricks up his sleeve. He's got it all. Tennessee is in a deep rebuild right now. Jeffrey Simmons, Cam Ward, that's about it. And they didn't even have Jeffrey Simmons today. He was out. or he got injured. So, like, I'm not getting on Cam Ward right now because I wanted to see more from him. This is about what I expected and about what everybody else should have expected out of him. I knew he wasn't winning Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. They just don't have the team. We've seen it so many times. Quarterbacks go to bad teams. You can't expect them to do much, right? All I'm asking is limit the turnovers and the unnecessary turnovers. Make the learning part of the game something that's semi out of your control, right? But these weird fumbles that happened again today with the Patriots and they took it back for 6, again, huge for my fantasy team, but I'm all about the player development. That's all I'm asking. Limit the unnecessary turnovers. Let's transition to Bears 26, Saints 14 before we go to the later slate of games. This was the first game of the year. Caleb looked bad. He did. I've talked a lot about Caleb Williams this year. I've hyped Caleb up a lot this season. But today we have to be real. The inconsistency continues to shine through his game. He's missing layup passes, easy throws that are there for the taking. He was 15 of 26, 170 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception today. But this was an ugly win, and they happen in the NFL, and you'll have off days. So the fact that the Bears and Caleb Williams are still winning these types of games is encouraging. I don't care if it was against the Saints. I don't care that it was, 12-point game. That's pretty good, actually. I don't care that it was an ugly game against one of the worst teams in the NFL. The old Bears of last year might have not won that game. But they're winning some of these close games that, maybe didn't fly their way last year. And that's going to be the difference when December rolls around and when you need a few extra wins in the win column, you need a few tallies there, you got them. Because you win these ugly, shootout, sluggish games. So for Caleb's got to be more consistent. He's got to be more accurate. He's got to stop all the off-target throws because it burns him. He's got to be more consistent with his arm. He's got to be more accurate. He's got to be a little bit smarter. He can't keep bailing on a clean pocket when the reads are there for him, but there's a lot of learning to be done and there's a lot of time. Ben Johnson isn't going anywhere, and if you've given up on either of them, you're foolish because we've seen great things from Caleb. One bad game doesn't define him this year. I think 6 weeks of encouraging football to one bad game, everybody has a bad game. Josh Allen has bad games. Lamar has bad games. Caleb can have one. Today was it. We'll be real, scratch it, move on to next week. As for the Bears as a whole team, and this is crazy, and I really hope this doesn't burn me, but the Bears are no longer broken. All right, I'm going to say it. I'm going to go out and say it. All right, with my chest, confidently, the Bears are no longer broken. I'm not saying they're making the playoffs. By no means. But what I will tell you, the run game is finally coming to life. Swift is absolutely balling these past few weeks. The O-line is improving every single week. The defense was extremely dangerous today. They locked up the Saints, put pressure on Rattler all day long. Ben Johnson even gave the game ball to Dennis Allen. That was awesome. And Caleb is a work in progress. But if Caleb can continue to get better every single week, every single year, they maintain this solid group of guys on defense. They maintain the core of talent on defense. And the talent around Caleb keeps stepping forward like a Rome, like a Loveland, like a Luther Burden. If the O-line truly does become one of the elite units in the league, of course this Bears team can be really good. 100%. It was against the Saints, though, today. So an NFL team for sure. A lighter matchup, absolutely. I got a chance to watch the Saints. A few of you guys might know my friend, AJ. I've been on his podcast for a little bit. Talk with him here and there about sports, about NFL. Huge Saints fan. If you haven't checked him out, go check him out. NFL with AJL. I hit him up about Spencer Rattler. And I think after just watching today and seeing what the media has to say, I kind of understand what's happening with Rattler, right? Spencer Rattler might just get too much hate. I think Rattler gets a little too much hate. Now, I'm not saying, he's the best quarterback out of the class. By no means, right? Like, he was a late round draft pick for a reason. But I think before watching a little bit of his game, I thought he was horrendous based off what the media said. Like, the media made it seem like Spencer Rattler couldn't throw a football or that he sucked. That is not the case. His stats today, 20 of 32, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And literally what AJ told me, and I, completely agree based off what I've seen these past few weeks. Spencer Rattler's just inconsistent. He can play phenomenal football for a play or a drive, and then pair that with terrible football. Like, the inconsistency is just too much, and I think that's where these negative reviews on Rattler might come from. He's also not in the best situation, by no means. The Saints aren't a good football team right now. They've played some decent football this year, but they're probably drafting top 5 again this season. Tough situation for a quarterback to walk into. The weapons are all right around him, but it's nothing to rave about. Like, I think he's doing a pretty good job, and he's showing some promise this year with what he's working with. And I think Kellen Moore, since showing up there, has been a lot better than I anticipated. I did not give him enough credit in Philadelphia. He's a real good offensive mind. He's doing his thing. And I think we've seen Spencer Rattler take some jumps forward this year, and that's encouraging to see. I've seen some podcasts talk about him. I've listened a little bit about him. Obviously, I haven't analyzed all his film, but from what I've seen, he's not as bad as people make him out to be. I just don't think so. He's young. He had some freaking phenomenal plays today. He threw a ball down the field to Chris Olave, which was incredible. And then I texted AJ and he threw like 3 picks after that, which is ironic. But again, it reinstates my point that, like, maybe he's just inconsistent. Maybe with a little bit better of a team, with more coaching from Kellen Moore, he'll get to the point where he could be, a franchise guy. Now, a few games I want to cover from the later slate on Sunday. 3 games here. I'm looking over my notes. We had Colts, Chargers, Cowboys, Commanders, and Broncos, Giants. Some real fire games. Really awesome. Let's kick it off with Colts 38, Chargers 24. Indianapolis is in the Super Bowl mix. They are. I'm done with the maybes or the ifs. This offense is really dynamic. Daniel Jones is playing great football. Jonathan Taylor should be the MVP. Tyler Warren, Alec Pierce, Josh Downs when he's healthy, Michael Pittman Jr. They got a ton of talent offensively. Defense has been way better than expected. They're handling playoff caliber teams and winning these games in blowout fashion. They smoked the Chargers today. They did whatever they wanted. And Shane Steichen is absolutely coach of the year material. I love how he gets fired up. Some coaches you watch and they just got it. And I think this year that's what I've seen from Shane Steichen. It seems like they game plan perfectly for every team they face and they execute it perfectly. They go out on the field and they pick apart defenses. Shane Steichen, Daniel Jones, that connection has been phenomenal since he's arrived there. I don't know what they fed Daniel Jones, some magic beans or some shit like that, but he's been freaking fantastic. So when you look at the Colts, they're playing great football against both the bad teams and the good teams. And with the way the AFC is shaping out this season, the way the AFC looks standings-wise, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Colts in the Super Bowl. I wouldn't pick them as my favorites right now. I'm still going the Chiefs, but they're a top 3 team in the AFC right now. Absolutely. I'm taking them over the Bills. I'm taking them over the Ravens. I'm taking them over every team in the AFC right now, not named Kansas City. 6-1 is a well-deserving record, and they should be 7-0. Should have beat the Rams. Daniel Jones has earned my full trust for the rest of the year. I'm saying it. After week 7, that's it. His stats today, 23 of 34. 290 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's got a lethal arm. Short, intermediate, long. He's doing it all this year. He's not afraid to push the ball downfield and take shots. He does it every single game, and he kills defenses with it. He's trusted on 4th downs. They had a touchdown drive today where they had three 4th down conversions on a touchdown drive today. Shane Steichen trusts Daniel Jones that much. He's evading pressure. He's moving extremely well in the pocket. He's finding the open holes in the zone. He's getting guys the ball in man coverage. He's doing it all. And the mistakes are limited. 10 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions this season. He's been phenomenal. Like, legitimately could potentially be an MVP candidate if he ends the season the way he started it. Another guy on this offense. This Colts offense could legitimately have 2 MVPs. Jonathan Taylor should be in the MVP race. 100%. His stats, 16 carries, 100 yards, 3 touchdowns today, with 3 receptions for another 40 yards. So like 140 all-purpose and 3 touchdowns. And this is what he's been doing all year long. Jonathan Taylor, he is the heartbeat of this Colts offense. He is the real reason why Daniel Jones has succeeded this much. He alleviates so much pressure off the shoulders of Daniel Jones and lets him play his best football. Because when Jonathan Taylor gets the ball, you automatically know you're getting 5 to 7 yards. He's an animal, and he has been since he entered the league. I'll never forget, I drafted him as a rookie in one of my fantasy leagues. I've never looked back. He is phenomenal, right? Like, Bijan right now is playing at an elite level, probably the best back in the league, but real close there is Jonathan Taylor. He's had 3 100-yard rushing games already this year. He comes up clutch when you need it. He's working well in the receiving game. He's doing it all for this offense. He should be considered in the MVP race. Because when you consider most valuable player to a team, Jonathan Taylor is up there. He is one of the most valuable players to his respective team in the NFL. Like the Colts without JT right now, they're very different. They're still a good team, but the running game is not nearly as dynamic. And I don't know how good Daniel Jones is without having a security guy like JT. And that's not taken away from Jones, right? This is purely talking about the importance and greatness this year of Jonathan Taylor. He's been phenomenal. Another guy in the offense, not in the MVP race, obviously, but Tyler Warren. Look, Colston Loveland, great tight end. Cannot believe Tyler Warren was not picked first. He's doing everything. Got in the end zone again today. The guy, he's a utility knife. He does it all. He does absolutely everything you can imagine and more. He's like Taysom Hill 2.0, but better. Like, he doesn't throw the ball. He probably could, to be honest with you. He doesn't throw it like a quarterback. But shit, this guy does everything. And the Colts have really scored. Like, they can use him in the most unique sets, the unique ways. Like, opportunities are endless with this guy. And honestly, that whole Colts offense, like I've said, week after week, they just have a real underrated but talented supporting cast for Daniel Jones. And I think that's what's really helped his success this year, along with, leaving New York, going to Minnesota, learning behind Darnold and Kevin O'Connell, and now he goes to Shane Steichen, who's been phenomenal this year with them, and they're just bonding and doing really great things. 7 weeks of football, he's got my full trust. As for the Chargers, another year, another same story from the loss Angeles Chargers. I feel bad. Get Justin Herbert some help, please. He's not free of blame today. He threw 2 interceptions, which probably lost them the game, if we're being completely honest. But 420 passing yards and 55 passing attempts, what are we doing? Like, honestly, this guy is going to be the next Andrew Luck. You need to have other options. You cannot ask Herbert to do this much with 0 supporting cast. He's onto his 6th tackle of the season. How fucking crazy is that? 6 tackles. It's week 7. He's losing a tackle every single week. There is no consistency on that offensive line. The defense was horrendous today. The Colts could do absolutely anything and they were falling for it. 38 points the Colts put up on this defense. Ladd McConkey hasn't been nearly the same player. Keenan Allen, who's on his way out, riding into the sunset, is their best receiver this year. I refuse to say Justin Herbert is a fraud and he's not elite because he hasn't won a playoff game. I think it's a ridiculous argument. Today, the first half interceptions, they were bad. I'm not going to deny it. But you really have to look at the whole picture, consider the context, and say the defense right now not where it needs to be. The O-line is so injured, it's disgusting. And Justin Herbert is pretty much left all alone. Kind of sad. It's kind of sad for his legacy. I honestly believe he's going to be the next Luck, unfortunately. They don't protect him. He's on pace to be hit a shit ton more than Luck. Now, I know Luck missed the season, but regardless, if you're getting that comparison, you're in trouble. It's not good news. Let's go Cowboys 44, Commanders 22. I want to talk about Dak, talk about the Commanders, and end with Broncos Giants here. As for Dak, it honestly brings me pure joy every week to talk about Dak. Like, he's such a good guy. At least, that's what's portrayed through the media to us. You can just tell, like, he's a good leader. I would love to have Dak in my locker room for sure. For $60 million, maybe not, but he's a good leader, man, and he's certainly playing up to his contract right now through 7 weeks. This is the best version I think I've ever seen of Dak Prescott. Seriously, like, even dating back to like 2019 where he had almost 5,000 yards, this might be the best version I've ever seen. The last 4 weeks, 1,100 yards, 13 touchdowns, no interceptions, averaging a 126.9 passer rating. He's slinging it with freedom. George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb could give him 5,000 yards this year, legitimately. He's on pace, I think, right now for 4,500. If he has a few big games, he's a 5,000-yard passer this season, if he stays healthy, knock on wood. He's moving better than ever. He looks more athletic than he was prior to the injury, which is crazy to say. He's launching balls 50 to 60 yards downfield with ease, and he's putting up 40 points routinely for this offense. Too bad this defense sucks. Too bad. Or else he'd really be the MVP. Like, over Baker, over Mahomes, we're talking. He's playing that good. He's an elite quarterback this year. Like, elite. And I use that word pretty loosely. But if we're talking about, like, the top 5 quarterbacks in the league this year, who's up there? Like, Drake May, you could argue. Dak for sure. Baker for sure. Mahomes for sure. He's in that conversation. Up there with those guys. He deserves a ton of praise for what he's doing. Because this Cowboys team was supposed to be straight ass. Straight ass. And honestly, I didn't believe in the comeback. I'll be honest. He's been phenomenal. At his age, what is it, his 10th year in the NFL, to come back and play like this, his best football, amazing. Maybe they bring George Pickens back, because this is obviously working with him and CeeDee Lamb. Washington, on the other hand, I hate to say it, Washington's spark is gone. At least in my opinion. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it feels different than it did last year. You know, Jaden Daniels is still a baller. He's still the future for this franchise. But they're the oldest roster in the NFL. The defense is not very good. They don't have a ton of talent really offensively. The offensive line is all right. And it doesn't seem like they're riding the high that they were last year. It seems like now the expectation was that they'd be a good team. While last year, it was more like a shock, and a lot of people were hopping on the bandwagon. They had a lot of momentum going into the playoffs, but I don't think it was sustainable necessarily. Now, I'm not saying they can't get to that point. You can make adjustments, obviously. You can go out and have some phenomenal drafts. You can go out and make splash moves in free agency. For sure, you got Jaden Daniels for the rest of his career if you play your cards right. But as of right now, this year, and I know Jaden Daniels went out like halfway through the game or middle of the third quarter, whatever it was, the spark just seems like it's fading. Like they don't have that special touch. They don't have that miracle feeling like they did last year. And ever since they got shut down by Philly in the playoffs, you were like, you know, maybe they just caught a few lucky breaks. They were a good team last year. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to take anything away from that. But just watching this season, it just feels very different. You know, I just don't think they got it. I don't. I think they have to shake things up. I think they're going to have to cut some old guys, get some vets out of there, unfortunately, and, you know, get some youth on this roster with Jaden Daniels. I know they got Terry McLaurin, but, like, he's getting older, right? You just signed him to a big contract, well-deserved, but you got to start looking at the future. Who's going to be your number one in the future? This is probably Terry's last big contract, right? Before the production starts going. So for me, just watching all year, Daniel's injured, Daniel's not injured, whatever, I don't feel the spark as much as I did last year. Let's go Broncos 33, Giants 32 to wrap things up. We're closing in on an hour here. It's been phenomenal. I appreciate you sticking through this one. I love it, man. Football's elite. I love talking football. I could talk all day. Look, as for the Broncos, man, Denver could be a top 3 team if they played like that for 4 quarters. Like, if they played 4 straight quarters like they did in the fourth quarter, that same production, they would be a top 3 team. The defense is an elite unit. I know they sucked against the Giants. They got a little bit unlucky, but they're a top 5 unit defensively in the NFL. The offense is super shaky. They got to figure it out. They need to get Dobbins going. They need to call better games. The fucking screen passes don't work. I don't know how to put it. Like, I don't know if I could put it any nicer than that. Bo Nix needs to be more consistent. They could use another weapon. Sutton's great, but they could use, you know, what are some receivers available? Like a Chris Olave, I guess. Maybe a Jalen Waddle. Like, I'm just thinking of receivers that have been, you know, in the media, potentially on the market. This Denver team is so good, and they have so much potential to be truly an elite roster and win some playoff games. Now they just have to get consistent. Open up the playbook, Sean Payton. Let Bo Nix go out there and play. Like, it's too conservative. Bo Nix isn't playing good enough for 4 quarters. That production isn't going to be sustainable when you go up against the best of the best in January for 3 or 4 weeks. It's just not. You're not going to win all those games. You're going to get closed out by the Chiefs. You're going to get closed out this year by the Colts because they're not going to put up for that shit. Bo Nix, it all starts with him. Bo Nix has to play 4 quarters of football. That's, you know, just the reality of the situation. This isn't sustainable, what he's doing. Like, it's the same thing with the Broncos. Bo Nix and the Broncos, their production right now goes hand in hand. I was torn today on Bo Nix. He's missing wide open targets, He's holding on to the ball way too long, and this has been going on for weeks now. It's not just a this week thing. But then in the fourth quarter, he comes out like a whole new quarterback. Like I'm watching Prime Brady dissect defenses with way more athleticism. He's got the tools and the skill set, but the offense has to open up, and he's got to be better and more consistent for a full 60 minutes. Because you can't stress your team and your fans out like this week after week and expect it to be a successful result in February, if you even get there. The same thing happened, against the Eagles. The same story against the Eagles. You play trash offensively for 3 quarters, and you decide to play football in the fourth. Same thing today against the New York Giants. Bo Nix in the fourth quarter was like, hey, I'm a franchise guy. I didn't see that for 3 quarters. Like, where is that? We need the consistency. We need the reliability in his game in order for the Broncos to advance. Because the Giants, in typical Giants fashion, ruined the day of their fans, but they dominated the game for 3 quarters. And I was stunned. I was fully prepared to make a full Giants video today and talk about how amazing they were, and I still am, but the win would have been sweet, right? But as I'm watching, I'm thinking about New York and their situation, and I can't help but think, imagine if the Giants still had Malik Neighbors. Imagine if the Giants had Malik Neighbors still. How dangerous could they really be? The Giants are the most underrated team in the NFL. Dart keeps proving he's the guy. Potentially game-winning drive. What we thought was a game-winning drive today, Jackson Dart led down the field, down to the goal line. I think he was taking a few too many shots. He had the time. He had 40 seconds on the clock. Could have pieced them up over the middle a little bit. It's also on Dable, right? He's a young guy. Doesn't know any better. He's just trying to put points on the board. You got time, right? You can run a full offense, drive down the field. But they got the PI, go down to the goal line, score. Kicker misses an extra point. How crazy is that? Broncos drive the field. Bo Nix has a legacy drive. They win the game. The defense was unreal for 3 quarters today, putting pressure on Bo Nix all day. They couldn't generate anything until it was a collapse in the fourth quarter. And that also was due to the bad interception by Dart. So, a lot of these things came together, and that's why they lost today. But you're looking at them play. You're looking at this offense and how they are moving. Scatterbo was a draft day steal for this team. He's the future number 1 running back. And Tyrone Tracy had a rushing touchdown today. They got a real good 2-headed monster back there. Theo Johnson and Wan'Dale Robinson have been great for Jackson Dart. Just imagine they had their number 1, Malik Neighbors, their number 1 separator, their number 1 target, your go-to red zone guy. The Giants could win 10 games. I think I predicted them at 8-9 before the season. I stand on that. Genuinely. They put belt to ass against Philly. They almost beat the Broncos. And when I say almost, should have beaten the Broncos. They've played some pretty incredible football teams really tight this year. They're a good football team, and they're going to be really good in the future. I'd say watch out. And New York, despite the loss today, has a lot to root for. That is an hour and 4 minutes on the pod. Thank you so much for joining me. Sunday afternoon football was a blast. Hope you had fun. If you did, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. So much more content coming your way. I'm going to be pumping out another episode tomorrow night with my boy Steve. So stay tuned for that. Until then, stay safe. Take care of yourself. I'll catch you soon. Peace out.